Okay, I've put the engine in, the Airstar Mongoose. You do need some specialized tools to install your clutch bell, and this will screw in where the spark plug would be normally, and it's basically just going to hold the piston in place so that you can install the clutch bell. And I honestly don't even know how good this particular clutch bell is. Put a little bit of ACF 50 in here. Try to lubricate that. This is used on actual aircraft, actual helicopters. My mechanic, when I was on the tuna boats, used that very copiously on the helicopter to prevent corrosion, because it was parked on the heli deck on the front of the boat, and it was constantly getting splashed with salt water from the ocean. We were down in the South Pacific Ocean. So this is where the specialized tool comes in that I mentioned earlier. And I probably should put a little bit of Loctite on here. I'm not gonna go too crazy with it. Just a little bit. Actually, I want to do a little bit of a bigger one. I'm not sure which size that is. I think it could be this one here. Oh, next size smaller. Okay. So with this, you need to hold the clutch bell as you're tightening that in there. this nice and tight. Make sure that the clutch bell spins freely. Okay, yeah, it's all spinning. Okay, so the next challenge is going to be to get the drive belt put on. I don't think that it matters which way this is oriented, but I like to have the writing down where you can actually see the writing. So this is where it becomes important to slide the engine back, because if you don't get the engine back, then you're not going to be able to get the belt over the pulley in the back, and that's one of the reasons you don't want to torque the engine down super tight. If I can get the engine to move back as far as I can, and that's pretty much as far back as it's going to go. It's a pretty tight fit. Okay. Okay, so the belt's on there, and you can see that's pretty loose. So the next step, and that's riding on there okay. That looks good. So the next step is actually going to be to push forward on the engine. It doesn't have to be a lot, but you want it far enough forward that it's going to put enough tension on that drive belt. And this might be like a point where it's okay to kind of use a screwdriver to pull forward on the engine enough to put some tension on there. That's probably about right on the tension. The only thing I don't like is this belt is right up against that bolt. My other try to get that to go down. It's kind of the same way in my other Airstar. I was noticing that too. So if I can get the belt to come down, that would be more ideal location. So get it at the bottom of that, down towards the bottom of the pulley. So now there's a little bit of clearance. It's not a lot, but you definitely do not want that belt rubbing against this bolt, because that's going to heat up your belt and cause your belt to break prematurely. This is still pretty loose, so I'm going to try to push forward on the engine. That seems about right. So I'm going to go ahead and in sequence tighten these down. I'm not going to torque them down all the way, just fairly snug. Sometimes you have to do bolt patterns in kind of a star formation. You don't want to tighten one down all the way. You want to like hit one side, go to the other side, hit this side, go to this side, and continue doing that until they're all tightened down. It's really nice and snug. I'll have to check the specs on that just to make sure that that is correct. And there are 2 washers on the back of these bolts. One is just a normal smooth washer, and then there's a lock washer. And I did put just a little bit of Loctite on these bolts. Again, you probably don't want to go too crazy, and I mean, I don't even know technically if you're supposed to use Loctite there, because I imagine there's a certain amount of heat. But that's it. That's the engine install. So now the helicopter should be a lot better.